He needs to deal with the protocol, because my fear has always been that the protocol will narrow the common ground in Northern Ireland. And I think we've seen that over the past 6 months. And so we need now to continue the work that we've been doing over this past 6 months. I think both the Prime Minister and Lord Frost have been listening. They have been putting out some very good statements in relation to dealing with the protocol. But now we need to see action, and we need to see action quite soon, because every day the protocol remains the way it is, there's more damage done to Northern Ireland.
And how are the talks going? David Frost said that you might have to invoke Article 16 if discussions with open trade don't get sorted.
Indeed, and that may well be the case. We have said all along, when the European Commission tried to invoke Article 16 at the end of January, that the Europeans were quite happy to do it in terms of vaccines and making sure that they had enough vaccines. This is doing real damage to Northern Ireland in terms of our trade, but also in terms of the Union, and therefore the Prime Minister needs to act, and I hope that Lord Frost will bring forward proposals very, very soon.
If it is invoked, how damaging will it be for Northern Ireland?
Well, as I've said, every day that the protocol is in place does more damage to Northern Ireland in terms of our trading relationship with our largest partners in Great Britain. And of course, it does damage to the Union as well. And my real concern as I move to leave office is the fact that actually it's narrowing the common ground in Northern Ireland, and that's a real concern.
And how damaging has Brexit been for the UK?
Well, I think you have to separate Brexit and the protocol. The protocol is doing the damage to Northern Ireland. Of course, I believed in Brexit because I believed that we needed to leave the European Union and all of the stringent rules that were there to allow us to be more flexible, to allow us to have a place in the world. But if the United Kingdom is to have a new place in the world, Northern Ireland must be part of that. And at present, because of the protocol, we're not.
And as you, on your final day, how do you feel with Mr Boots taking your place?
Well, you know, it's my final day probably coming up into Downing Street as the First Minister and as DUP leader. But I hope it's not my final day in Downing Street at all.
He has said that he'd want you to leave earlier, for a smoother transition. Would you do that?
Well, look, I haven't been speaking to Edwin. I haven't had any contact from him, but I'm sure he will speak to me in due course. Thanks.
Boris Johnson betrayed you over Brexit?
Well, look, I got into politics to make Northern Ireland a better place, to move Northern Ireland forward. I believe if we are to do that and continue to do that, then I think we need to deal with the protocol in a very proactive way. And I hope that when I speak to the Prime Minister this morning, we'll hear more about that. Thanks very much.